Because they're the ones who get the job done, right? But basically, that's what it is. Sometimes when you're in office and you're in a cubicle and you have different sort of like policies that you can't actually go out and do, when you're doing outreach, you can, So, even like one of the outreach, I guess, tasks is usually taking people to hospitals, right? Or taking them to addiction centers or taking them to places and accompanying people because of the discrimination. They have to go with them to make sure that people are being, respectful and honoring their time limits. Like if you're supposed to have a 1 o'clock appointment and it's 4 o'clock and they haven't seen you yet, they need to do that. And then sometimes when they're sitting there, they're like, well, can I buy them lunch? Well, of course you buy them lunch, because if you don't buy them lunch, they're going to leave, right? So these are the people that are actually doing the work, talking to the doctors or talking to the professionals and getting the information and following up and helping them. And, you lead the way by teaching them how to advocate, because they're watching you advocate on them and they're going, oh, that's how you do it. And after 5 or 6 times, they're like, you know what? I don't need you now. I can do it on my own. And that's what it's about. So they're the ones that are doing almost like, the real hard work of following up. And it is hard work though, right? Especially, in this time when we see a lot of our, we've already had, since the summer, we've had like 3 memorials, right? And 4 now, if you want to, considering, Joyce's protest. So it weighs on the staff. It really, it bothers them, and sometimes you burn out quickly. So we have to sort of make sure that these outreach workers are having enough self-care. And here at the shelter, I'm always, we have wellness days. We allow people to take time off when they need it. We gave out spa what do you call them, gift certificates to staff. Like you have to keep your staff healthy. I make sure that we have a psychologist here that all the staff can utilize, or they can go and use their own. Like we have to take care, because the people we work with depend on us, and if we're not there, they don't know where to go. So we have to go that extra mile. Um, I mean, I would love to say volunteering, but it's kind of hard now with COVID. So it all depends. Maybe volunteering, depending on, what kind of zone we're in. There's that. But I guess maybe it's like through social media awareness, fundraising. Like I'm very concerned about the fact that, we have to get zoning, we have to get the borough to be in with the zoning issues. And um, awareness about that, about getting people to be like, yeah, you guys are the solution, and there is no solution, right? So here's another story that we lived this summer. I had mentioned I'm 60 Scoop. There was a guy who's literally my age, that had been released from jail, and he's also 60 Scoop. He's Ojibwe, and he was coming to Cabot Square when Resilience was in the park, and he was drinking hand sanitizer every day, right? So he has a lot of pain, and he's trying to find a way to get out of his pain. And this is what he's choosing to do, but he's also poisoning himself. So the staff were taking him to the hospital, or calling 911 probably, every second day. And they were doing their best to try to help him. But, they're just staff. Like, where are the health professionals? So they called the health professionals, and everyone had a different story as to why he fell through the cracks, right? And I was trying to, even get like the Douglas Center to get involved. I'm like, if you are drinking hand sanitizer, you are not in your right mind. Somebody help him. And what we ended up doing was he exhausted every resource, in terms of he ended up, having violent behavior at a certain shelters. No one was allowing him. We felt like the only option was him getting arrested, and that wasn't an option. So what we did was we took him to Ottawa and brought him to the Oaks. And I'm thinking, and that was good. He stayed for about 3 months. But why do I have to drive him to the Oaks? So when we moved to the new location, we want to have something in there. Like the building we have has 2 other floors. It's 3 floors. So why can't we have something there to help Indigenous people or non-Indigenous people that are suffering from addictions and are choosing these horrible choices just to not feel. So, I think that it's been really, it's been pretty brutal what's gone on with COVID, and that we need people walk through the metro and they see people that are indigenous or homeless, and they're like, oh, get away, like walk really quickly. We need to change that. And if they see someone who's homeless, educate yourself first of all wherever you are about the resources in the area. Give them something to eat, or have a conversation, or offer them some coffee or something. Like, have these conversations, and then like, let them know, get a pamphlet. See, sometimes they're going to be like, yeah, I really don't want your pamphlet, and sometimes they'll be like, oh my god, I had no idea. Yes, I will go to that resource, right? But support the organizations that are doing that work. Most organizations that are nonprofit are really nonprofit. So they have no money, right? They're always like scrambling, and then what happens is, like, a funding, a funding source comes out and everyone dives, right? Who's the best organization to get this money? It's really hard. I get, sometimes people are like, I have money, prove to me why I should give it to you. And I'm like, no, just give it equally to all the organizations, please. So those are the kinds of things that you can do, and if you're living in Quebec, I really would, send letters to Legault and let them know that you also believe in systemic discrimination, and ask these institutions whether or not they're applying the Viens Commission. 142 recommendations that went out last September that everyone is ignoring. Someone just told me that, they actually applied 51. I'm like, well, they didn't apply them here in Montreal, so I don't know where they applied them, because I'm working with youth protection and with the police and with I'm working, nobody knows of them. But unless people push them to do it, then it's never going to happen. It's almost complacency, right? It's like, oh, they didn't bother us, so we can just lean back and not do anything. And yeah, you need to do more, because when that big boat came of all the Europeans, the native people were really nice to you. So let's be nice to them. Well, I would look them up, find out the communities, Also, like, if there's like powwows, I mean, they're wonderful. Here in Montreal, we have one, but it was canceled this year because of COVID. But a lot of people seem to be almost afraid. Like, if they're not Indigenous, they're almost afraid to go into the community, which is silly, because I mean, it is the most amazing experience, and they welcome people to come in. So go to the community events. And there's also other reports like the TRCs, right? They have recommendations, read them. They do have like a 3-pager of just the recommendations, not the full report. Same thing with, missing and murdered. They have all these different calls to justice. Take a look at them. And it is overwhelming to read, right? Like, the report for missing and murdered is like this big, right? But they also have just the recommendations, and they even, for Quebec, they have their own specific ones. So you can just read that. But I'm telling you, you will see commonalities within all of them. Basically, we just keep repeating ourselves. It'd be really nice if someone applied them. But if I have to do it, I will. Pretty soon, I'll be knocking on your door. Don't make me come. Sorry. But we need people to show up, and that's why I was so happy with the protest, because it was a sea of people that showed up, and I'm like, thank you guys. It's a lot on our shoulders. It is a lot, but we still have quite the battle to continue. And all of you guys that are like watching this, I know you can do your part. I know that you can make it easier for us, for that next generation. Let's make it better for Joyce's children. She has 7 children, right, that are left behind. Let's make it easier so that her kids don't have to go through that. That'll be your challenge.